College football season is here. That means we have Michael Felder in, our National College Football Insider from Bleacher Report and Learfield, fired up. And I'm no longer going to introduce you as Michael Felder. It's Chef Mike, because I have talked about you all off season, and you've been out of our mix. We have so many chefs and cooks on our show.
Yeah,
now, I have you number 2 in the rankings. You're
I'll
only
take it.
behind. You're only behind former NFL player Chef Mark McMillan, because Mark actually made a Gordon Ramsay show called Next Level Chef. He was on season 2.
Nice.
So I'm going to give him the nod. But your photos and your descriptions, I told people, I'm like, this guy is homemade about everything. So I wanted to come out of the gates and ask you about the national champion. But you know what? The hell with that. I got to find out about your Hatch chili burger.
Oh, dude, it's my favorite burger. I love Hatch chilies. You guys are out there. You probably can get them more accessible than I can. And you got to roast them. You throw those bad boys on the grill, get them roasted. And you can smell it. Like, it's a smell that like gets into your, like, goes in your nostrils, but it's up there in your brain. And it smells so good. Those green Hatch chilies. And then I make my own buns. I grind my own beef. Throw a little bacon on there, and I like to use like a little white cheddar, like a Vermont white cheddar on there. If you don't have that, you can use orange, classic regular cheddar. But I love to do that, and then like a little, basically like a Hatch chili jelly that goes on the bottom, and then the Hatch chilies go underneath the bacon. The cheese goes over the bacon, and then boom, we're eating.
Beautiful. Do you have a beef mix that you prefer?
I am very liberal with how I do my burger mix. It's about what's on sale. That's the start. What I can add to it to fix it if it's too lean. Because I don't know about you, but listen, your boy stays with bacon fat just ready to go.
Yes.
So if I need to thin out, if I need to fatten up a ribeye, or I need to fatten up a strip, but the strip's on sale, I know when I get home, I just drop some of that bacon fat in there, do that. I like to grind it with the garlic in it. So I cut it up, put it in the freezer for, 20 minutes, whatever it is. So it's a little bit thicker consistency, drop that in the grinder, but I also put the garlic in with the beef. So you get a little bit of garlic in there, season it up, salt, pepper. You can use, and when I do the Hatch burger, I don't use chili, like chili powder or anything. I just do the burger with the garlic and the salt and pepper, and then the Hatch is the star of the show. That's what I love about it.
Nice. All right, well, let's get to it. Cut to the chase. Who's going to win the national title?
I had to do this for Bleacher Report, and it was such a hard show because I thought they just wanted me to give like my postseason top 12s, and they're like, "Oh no! What you're going to be doing is going through like the entire bracket." Who wins what, who goes where, and then we get to this. And so I think we might end up seeing Georgia and Alabama again, because I think Alabama, even though I think Alabama's probably going to end up being an 8 or a 9 seed, I think they're going to be a problem for everybody that's not Georgia. I think Georgia ultimately wins.
Okay, in Vegas, we've got a bet available. Mm-hmm. Who's going to win the national championship? Georgia / Ohio State or the Field? The Field is a slight favorite. What would you bet?
I'd bet the Field, I guess, even though I said I think Georgia's going to win. But the reality of it is, if you have Alabama in this game, they're going to be a real problem. And I know they have a new coach in Kalen DeBoer. I think he's a very good football coach, which I don't think people are giving him enough credit for. I know Alabama's had some losses. I think Georgia's been maybe one of them, outside of Clemson, obviously. Georgia's been one of the most cohesive units with respect to transfer portal and bringing in their own recruits. And so it's going to be interesting. Ohio State, adding in Judkins, though, I mean, I don't know if you've seen the highlights from NCAA 2025, but apparently he's unstoppable. So you get him in there, and it's going to be interesting. But I also look, here's the part about the Field. Georgia, Ohio State. But the Field is Texas with Quinn Ewers. And if Quinn Ewers doesn't cut it, it's going to be Arch Manning. Okay, wow, that's amazing. Now we're talking about Alabama, who we've already discussed. We're talking about a Florida State team that brings in DJ Uiagalelei. We're talking about a Miami team that brings in Cam Ward. Cam Ward, I got a chance to talk to him a couple of weeks ago at ACC football kickoff at the media days. Awesome dude. Truly has earned the respect of his teammates and if they can find ways to get things done defensively, I think they're going to have a big year. Louisville's another team that's going to be really surprising, and Louisville's are they in the top 20? I think right now, like the preseason at least, they're going to be a team that's going to be really surprising. It's going to be wild, and the craziest thing is we haven't talked about the reigning national champion at all. They go through a coaching change. Harbaugh's in the NFL again. They go through a quarterback change. JJ McCarthy, I know he's battling an injury in the NFL right now, but that guy also did a lot for them. He's gone. They lost their best wide receiver. They lost their best overall player, I believe, in Mike Sainer still. So we haven't even mentioned Michigan's not even on the board. I think Penn State is who people think are going to be. No, that's not true because I keep forgetting about conference realignment. I think Oregon is the team people are talking about after Ohio State, then Penn State. And people are throwing little flyers on Washington. I think that the style of play is going to be very interesting to watch with Oregon, Washington versus Iowa, Wisconsin. Those four teams, there's such a big, like a disparate, difference between how they play. I think Oregon gets the edge though, because Oregon does have a guy that worked for a while in the SEC. And I don't know if you watched the videos of Dan Lanning talk to his football team, but that man, whoo, he'll get you to run through a brick wall, baby.
Michael Felder is with us. Chef Mike is with us from Learfield, from Bleacher Report. You want to sign up for his letter, his stories every week. It's Felder, Substack.com. Well, that's been one of my questions of the offseason since we're in the Pacific time zone, and I like the Pac-12 and I like their style of play. My basic question has been, does that Pac-4 teach the Big Ten some lessons, or is it vice versa and they get freaking powered?
I think it's both, right? I think it's both. 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other, where they're going to show you that, like, hey, man, we're fast and we run and we move and we do count on our quarterbacks to make plays. And that's the reason why I brought up that juxtaposition of Iowa and Washington of Oregon and Washington versus Iowa and Wisconsin. It's going to be like we're looking at two. I talk to my guy, George Whitfield, all the time. And he always said, this is the thing that my biggest takeaway from him is styles make fights. And styles do make fights. You know what else makes fights? Weather. And so if you want to drag them down, and this, again, it's one of those things. If Iowa or Wisconsin could drag them down to where they want them to be, they're going to win with experience. But if Oregon or Washington, and we see it almost every year with Ohio State, right? Where Ohio State's like, we're not going to play this slog ball. We're going to play our level of football, and we're going to ask you to get up to our level, and you can't do it because you don't have the pieces. And so as long as they don't fall into this idea of, I guess we have to, win field position and time of possession, if you just realize, no, I don't have to do that. You know what I have to do? I got to play my football game. Who cares if they have the ball for 40 minutes and I have it for 20? If I scored 3 touchdowns in 20 minutes and they have the ball for 40 minutes and they score 2 touchdowns, I still win.
Michael Felder's with us on Cofield Company. We're all set up today at Circa Las Vegas. We're on Radio Row with 30 other stations and podcasts getting ready for the Ultimate Contest weekend. Very cool setup. I don't know how much you look at the rankings. I don't look, but I did take a gander at the AP rankings for college football, and I love when Vegas grades something a lot differently than the AP.
Right.
AP has Clemson as the number 4 team in the country. You can get Clemson for the national title as low as 50-1. So who's wrong?
That's a really hard one, man, because it's all depend. There are 2 factors that go into that for me. Do I think the AP is wrong? Absolutely. I think they just picked. Yes, the AP. Why am I like? I'm not even going to waste your time. The AP is wrong. They're wrong. The AP is wrong. I don't know how wrong they are compared to Vegas, though, because I do think we're looking at basically 4 or 5 horses in this ACC race. And I was at ACC Media Days. So we are looking at Clemson. We are looking at Florida State. Those are the 2 front runners. But Louisville is going to be a problem. Miami could be a problem. North Carolina State is the other one. And so this is going to be really interesting to see what this looks like. And because Cam Ward coming in is going to be awesome. Grayson McCall, by the way, who no one's talking about, but at North Carolina State, Grayson McCall adding himself into the mix, going to be awesome. I talked to Cade Klubnik. I mean, Cade Klubnik, he cut a selfie video for me for my next door neighbors who both graduated from Clemson. He's such a cool dude. And I think he's going to take big steps, and he's going to have healthy wide receivers. So they're very excited about Bryant Westco, but they also are excited that Antonio Williams is back. Clemson, I'll be honest, man. I was at ACC Media Days. With the exception of the ACC Network and the ACC Sirius channel, there was like truly, and you know how this works, like the Florida State people showed up. Florida State was on day one, and those people never came back. They were gone. They didn't meet any of the other teams, any of the other coaches. They were gone. Same thing with Miami. Like, it's one of those things where I don't think enough media people know enough about these teams. I think Clemson has the win of the offseason with Barrett Carter coming back to school. I have not seen enough people talk about how amazing that is. But when I talked to Dabo, when I talked to Kate Klubnik, they were like, this was the steal of the year. He could have gone and been drafted in the first round, maybe the second round. And instead, he's coming back. And we have young linebackers. We have young front seven. We trust our secondary, but we need him to be the guy that gets all these guys lined up. And I don't think enough media people have even thought about that. Or I also don't think they even care about that. They're just looking at a name on a jersey. They're looking at a returning quarterback and a returning head coach, and they're going from there.
It's felder.substack.com. I mentioned coming out, we've got you number 2 in the Cofield Company chef rankings. And one of the things I always say about Michael Felder as a cook, as a chef, is you are very much into homemade. And I was reading through some of the stories from the summer and recently. You bake. So I saw you had homemade hot dog buns, and then that lasagna, bro, with the homemade pasta. I mean, in the Italian parlance, Italian American New Jersey, Madon, that looked great.
Oh, dude, yeah, the lasagna. My wife loves the lasagna. I'll tell you what, I put a twist on it every now and then. I use the squid ink. Get the squid ink in there, and I do like a white sauce instead of using the red sauce. I do a white sauce. So we do black pasta, white sauce. You get some sausage in there, or even better, you do shellfish, you do crab, shrimp, all that stuff in there, and you lobster in there with the black sheets with the white cream sauce. It's great. I love the traditional lasagna as well. And I love it. I love making my pasta from scratch. Like, you can't beat it. I love making, I have a 6-year-old. My daughter, when she goes to the grocery store with me, or when I come home from the grocery store and she sees that I've got like 10 pounds of tomatoes, she's like, yes, it's on. And the homemade hot dog buns, absolutely love them. Highly recommend. But we went to a dinner with friends, and they actually made pulled pork, and which is great. It's fantastic. They use the King's Hawaiians. They're very soft. They're good. And I said, do you want me to steam these hot dog buns? Because they had the store-bought hot dog buns. And they're like, you want me to toast them on the grill? I was like, no. Do you want me to steam these hot dog buns? And they're like, how do you steam a hot dog bun? And I was like, when you go to a sporting event and the hot dog bun is like in the little thing and it's steamed and it's soft and it's so good. I was like, all you have to do is take aluminum foil, a little bit of Pam on there. You put the hot dog buns in there, drizzle some water, cover them up, put them in the oven, and now you have a steam bun that's super soft. It's got that like ballpark feel, right? Like, that's what everyone wants that. I don't really love, like, for bratwurst, maybe I like a toasted bun, but I like a steam bun way better. It like conforms to the hot dog. You get your toppings in there. That's what I'm looking for.
In your latest story, I saw that you have a live show coming up. So what's going on there?
Yeah, live show. We have a live show. If anyone, I know you're out in Vegas, but if anyone's going to be in the Raleigh area on Saturday, the 24th, we're doing a live show. It's the Joe Show, which is guys that are based in Raleigh. They talk a lot about triangle sports, which is really cool. UNC, Duke, like, they talk a lot of ACC in general. Like, those are guys I would trust to talk about where Clemson actually ranks nationally. And then we have Hand in the Dirt, which is a gardening podcast about football. We also have 500 koozies. So if you can't make it to the show, guess what? We're going to have leftover koozies. Guess what we're going to do? We're going to sell those things online too. So we'll ship them to you. So we've got that.
Last one, Mike.
Oh, and then we also have the Shutdown Fullcast is going to be on the show. It's at the Rialto in Raleigh.
Awesome. Last one. We got about a minute left.
Okay.
USC, LSU on the ground here in 10 days. I think USC is going to have a good season, but I feel like they're walking into a buzzsaw, and it's going to be one of those you get killed early in the season, and then you got to rebuild. Can USC hang with LSU in the opening week?
Here's the problem. LSU just lost a very, very good quarterback. And I don't know what that looks like for them moving forward because LSU, like you go to their depth chart and it's like they lost Max Johnson's at UNC because Max Johnson went from LSU to A&M. Now he's at UNC. We'll see what they like. This is going to be one of those things. If you are USC, your defense has to show up for one. Two, you better jump on them early. And I don't know if USC is going to be able to do that. I know Lincoln Riley's going to try, but I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. And so I know that LSU is going to come in there with that we're going to knock you out mentality, and we'll figure out the rest, which is what we've seen from Brian Kelly from Cincinnati to Notre Dame, obviously now at LSU. So I think LSU gets them. I just think the mentalities are completely different.
Fired up to have you on all season. Thank you, Chef.
Take it easy.